the Hot Rod Lounge. This is episode 3. We made it to number 3, guys. To this. I don't know what we're doing. This is brought to you by Scotch Media Productions and is sponsored by Riverside Ford of Tulsa, where they want you to know that Riverside is always by your side. We do have a great show today. We've got Earl Hill today. We've got Steve here today. And of course, the man of the hour, Mr. Randy Pierce. How are you, sir, today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
And we've brought along our tens and tens of listeners.
Yeah. And tens and hey, we had 100 plays.
Get out of here.
That's cool.
That's not bad for
That's
two
not bad
shows.
No
Hey,
doubt.
and Travis got a text or a message from a dude that listens in Oregon.
I know.
Saw that.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the
Oh, Steve sent it?
No.
What was you doing in Oregon?
Well,
Well, that's up there close to where they build that fancy bullet you want.
that bullet's fast. That's all I'm going to say.
How is your life going for you right now, Randy?
Life is good. How about you, sir?
I'm hanging in there.
Are you as practical as ever?
I am as practical as ever. I got
Still driving a Ranger?
Yeah, it's right there. It's right outside the door.
You know, you could swap that Ranger for that black ops trucks right there and be cool.
I want the payment.
And the step ladder that comes with
But
it.
it's,
right.
hey,
Right.
but it's truck month.
This old fat guy getting in and out of that damn thing is just gonna not.
That truck qualifies for 1.9% interest for 72 months, sir.
All right. All right.
Right here at Riverside Ford of Tulsa, which is where we're set up again.
Yeah.
They keep letting us invade the showroom floor. We can give a shout out to the mom, Podcast Cake,
Yes. The carrot cake.
Carrot cake.
Out of this world.
Steve McQueen,
Homemade.
For people that don't know,
requested carrot.
it has become a tradition on our third show, and it's probably going to be for the rest of the time. We get Randy gets us a cake for
There
Cake.
you go.
Podcast Saturday.
Podcast Saturday.
Right.
Cake for breakfast.
We film on Saturday, or we record on Saturday.
Yeah.
From
And
his mother's secret recipes.
and TJ, our producer, has requested cornbread next time.
He loves cornbread.
I bet we can do both.
Well, let's do a 6 o'clock in the evening and we can have the beans with it.
There you go.
Ham and-
Okay.
Ham and beans.
There you go.
That would
do
complement
that.
the cornbread.
How about we just
Right.
do it? Hey, we could do it from Mom's living room.
Yeah. We can anywhere you want, really.
So we got some exciting things coming up. We'll talk about those later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys watch Daytona?
I watched parts of
Part of
Daytona.
Yeah. Earl,
It
did you
was-
see-
Same here, parts.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
Part of it.
It was like 200-mile-an-hour bumper cars.
It was. The finish.
Oh.
Unreal.
Earl, did this thing? It reminded me of the old days of racing. Beat,
It
bang,
did.
shove. You're in my way. Put you in
my
the
way. I'm
wall.
going to put you in the wall. Put you in the
Right.
infield. I'm coming to the
Right.
front.
Yeah.
Right.
And Daytona over the years has had some great finishes.
That was not one of them.
This was not one of them.
No.
You remember the year Waltrip put Earnhardt in the grass headed toward turn 1, and he did a complete 360 and never lifted
Right. Got back on the track.
and got to turn 1 before the rest of the pack, taking a trip through the infield in a 360-degree donut in the middle. Yeah. I mean, that was great racing.
Yeah, good days.
I don't know many of the drivers anymore. When I watch Daytona or NASCAR, I just look for the Ford Oval.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you weren't going to find it much in this last Daytona. either.
You were not going to find it much.
But that's not totally true. And so they were in there until you try to shove a wedge through a pinhole. And then you play bumper cars.
Right.
But that's it, too. You know, Travis, like you said, you know, at our first podcast, you're not a car guy. Racing to me is new as well.
Right.
And so I love learning about it. It's exciting. You know, I understand that things are going to go wrong, but seeing that happen when Ford hung with the leaders
Yeah,
the entire time, you know, and then you turn it into a ping pong match, pushing and shoving and that sort of thing, and you
It's
have
all
a different
how you-
result.
It's all how you finish, though, right?
The
I mean, they are ninth.
the top 5 cars
Right.
were Chevrolet,
Right.
Toyota, Chevy, Toyota.
Which says something about that Toyota, because I think, was it Toyota and Ford have new tech this year, right? I mean, they introduced brand new cars.
But you got to remember, with the Toyota, it's not all that fast. The floor mat's hung on the pedal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know if anybody's going to get that reference.
If you
Obviously.
if you remember the Camry had a recall a few years back, and the fix was they rearranged the floor mat so that it didn't hang on the accelerator pedal. So that's the joke.
And people were like crashing and like,
Oh yeah,
I mean, it was
them old cars would wind up and you couldn't shut them off and they wouldn't turn off. And so the joke was in NASCAR, the Toyotas aren't that fast. The floor mats are hung.
right. They just don't know how to stop. They just don't know how to stop.
I got the letter at the house. It said, you got
wow.
to take it into the dealership, and it was nothing but a new clip.
Right.
It kept the floor mat from
Now-
getting under the accelerator.
Wow.
I read a little blurb that popped up, and Earl might be able to help us with this because Earl's our race expert.
Yeah.
Shelby Royalty, the prince of auto racing. Okay.
You might as well just accept that now.
I guess. Proclaimed by Randy
Randy
Pierce.
Pierce.
The commander-in-chief of Earl's Top 10.
Yep.
I read a blurb the other day that said in 26, Honda was coming to NASCAR.
Wow.
Huh.
True story,
didn't-
fake news.
I didn't see that.
It was just it was just a little. It popped up on I believe it was a Facebook feed after Daytona.
Oh, well, you know.
That was spam, Randy.
That was
I mean,
spam?
click here.
I mean, if it's on Facebook, it has to be real, right?
Let's just look.
pull it up, click it.
You guys-
find the link.
Well, Honda's motors and other engineering design stuff, is right at the very top. They've always had good stuff. I mean, they just do. And even the small engines, somebody says, well, I'm going to get a little portable generator, take with me on the race truck, to run our whatever we need to run, at night. And what do they all want? The Honda generator, because it's quiet and it runs forever.
It's very quiet.
Very quiet. Versus the ones that some other places, that you can hear them 5 pits down running all night. Somebody wants to shoot the thing with a shotgun.
So
Okay.
what are the manufacturers that race currently?
Ford,
Right.
Chevy,
Right.
Toyota.
Okay, so those are the only 3 manufacturers right now? Or-
Yes, because in 08, when the car market, was it 08, crashed, when Alan Mulally says, I don't want your money,
Yeah.
that was Ford, folks. We didn't take the money. So
Right.
everybody else pulled out.
Right.
Okay.
But there are, if you go in and Google this Toyota to NASCAR racing on Google, there are several stories. Motorsports Wire says NASCAR in discussions with Honda to come to NASCAR racing in 26.
They participate in other series,
Yeah.
Honda engines, and,
But-
and do quite well.
Have you ever been to a NASCAR race?
No.
So when them cars go by, I mean, it's basically open headers, pipe out the doors. Can
Can't
you,
even see the numbers.
can you hear the Honda going by? Wing, 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 wing.
That's great.
I mean,
If they ever all become electric, you won't hear nothing.
Right.
They ever all become
my gosh.
electric, I'll quit watching racing.
Me too.
I mean, what are they going to do?
Wow.
Race for 3 laps and
Right.
charge for
Charge
3
it up.
hours? Race for 3 laps, charge for 3 hours?
Exactly.
well, they'll have to have a.
Just switch cars. Whoop, 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 whoop.
I'm sure they'll figure out something
Right.
for the battery
Well, like
pack.
changing out tires, you got to change out batteries. So
Yeah.
you have some sort of.
Well, I mean, the new battery packs. I mean, you get into this, but the new battery packs, that basically fits underneath the.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they literally probably could create this thing where it just pops out.
Okay, before you go down this story,
We're making it up now, right?
Yes.
I need
It's
you
a good
to
plan.
I need you to come to the shop with a camera, and I'll show you the removal
Oh.
Well, I'm not saying like
of a
now.
battery.
We're talking about the evolution.
You're right. Exactly. Thank you. This is like what they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Look,
don't take off
perhaps one
a
day.
regular car tire with one nut. I mean, when they pull those things off, they have a.
Okay, in NASCAR they do pull them off with one nut.
That's what I'm saying. But on a regular car, they don't. So they make the car so it works in the.
Years
In the
ago,
NASCAR.
years ago, I'm watching a NASCAR race, and the cars came in the pits, and they were only installing 3 lug nuts per wheel because it was faster. And I'm like, I don't think so, Tim. I'd be telling that crew chief, I want all them
All
lug
of them.
nuts.
There's a reason. They're designed that way, right? I mean, without one,
No,
you're
at
putting
the-
pressure on the others.
Yeah, at that time, I think they had 5, and they were only putting on 3. Well, now they've just gone to the one
Single
Right.
nut. Yeah.
single nut, kind
Right.
of like IndyCar
Kind of
racing.
like IndyCar
Right.
racing.
Didn't one miss the application of the nut?
Yeah.
Well, that's common.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in that movie.
And that's when the guy sweeps up the pit stall. When he sweeps it up, he's mainly sweeping up the lug nuts from all the way around the car.
Oh, okay.
He sweeps them to the edge, and they just pick them up and they throw them in the trash can.
Right.
You remember the clip where Carroll Shelby dropped the lug nuts in the pit crew on pit road when
Yeah.
Ferrari was racing?
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
The Ferrari leaves the pits, and Carroll walks over and takes 3 lug nuts out of his pocket and drops them where the car had been setting and walks
So they get
off.
so they get a penalty.
Well, yeah.
I
Our
forgot
team
that.
goes
That
nuts.
is funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
So they have to clean that out right away.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not, you'll run over it and
Before they went to the single
tire.
nut, they're all put on the next set of tires, and they're really actually 2 hours before the race with GE silicone. They silicone the lug nuts to the rim, so when your tire guy comes around on the left side, when he throws it up
already
on there, the
there.
nuts are already on there.
Got it.
And then that gun, the air gun, just puts them on there.
Yeah. Cool.
But the old ones, spin off and they're laying all over the pit. And I forgot all about that. They got a penalty for having debris in the pit stall.
And, we talked about Daytona. They raced in Atlanta last weekend. And that was still a bumper car fest.
Bumper car.
If you watched any of that race. And they were trying to thread these NASCARs at 200 miles an hour through a little bitty keyhole between 3 or 4 other cars, and I like it.
Yeah.
Just remind everybody that we are on the showroom. So if you do hear stuff in the background, people talking in the background, we are here during their business hours. So
Right. They are buying cars and
they are
pickups.
buying
Yeah.
cars.
Matter of fact, one Saturday, come see us.
That's right. Hey, let's take a break for a second.
There'll be cake.
Yeah, there will be cake. Just give us a second. We'll be right back.
Already?
Okay, we're recording.
I was sitting there the night he said it. Earl was there
We're
too.
recording. Can we PG? 13, maybe. PG.
Well, he ain't gonna
PG.
air that anyway.
Right.
No, I won't. I'll take it out. You don't get to hear it. All right, so we're back. Hey, all right, so speaking of Daytona, speaking of Ford and all that's going on, what are you doing? No,
Randy.
I promise you I'm
We're
recording.
rolling, Randy.
Thank
You
you
know,
guys for editing.
We need to set this up and have a studio audience because they'd love to watch this mess. Okay.
Well, we've talked about doing live. I'll sidetrack just for a second. So,
Sidetrack on this show?
Did you say sidetrack or
Yeah,
8-track?
8-track.
excuse me. So I'm going to sidetrack just a little bit on the show. So we will be going live eventually.
Mm-hmm.
The problem we're running into is there's some technical issues about how we're going to go live. So the program that we're using right now, we were halfway through the show last time and it cut out.
Right.
So I can't go live if I don't know for sure that I'm 100% that the technology is going to work.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we may switch gears on that, but that's what TJ's working on right now is to see how that stays together. So eventually, for our fans who want us to go live, we will be going live here, hopefully within the next couple of times. It'd be cool at the Air and Space Museum.
Right.
Very cool.
But we could hang it out there and people could come down and watch this mess if they
Right.
wanted to.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
participate.
Yeah. I mean, more the merrier. I mean, I can set up a speaker so people can
Hear.
actually hear what's going on.
I mean, we do have some applause, right?
Yeah, we do.
That's not applause, Travis.
See, you got it all screwed up. You put me on the spot like that.
You're making him nervous. Calm down.
I want to go back to the Darth Vader voice
There you
Yeah.
go.
The dark.
or Obi-Wan.
Earl B1.
Or Obi-Wan.
There it is. That's only on your mic, though, right?
Yeah.
It's only on Earl's
Earl's
mic.
the-
That's it.
Earl's the only droid.
I don't know why the music. Okay.
That's okay.
I
Keep
gotta
going,
figure out
Travis.
I got to figure out how to use this stupid thing. So anyway, so we're talking about Daytona.
Daytona.
We were talking about cars.
Cars.
There is a rumor out there that Mustang is going to be the last standing muscle car available.
Earl, you wish to start that conversation?
That apparently, you saw the Camaro, I guess, be shelved last year. The 23s were the last Camaros. So what you have now is really Dodge with a V8 and Ford with a V8. BMW. makes a V8.
Yes, they do.
They do. So there's 3.
M series.
I did some training last week at our Jaguar store, and they make a Jaguar F-Type that's a 5.2, as I remember correctly, V8 with a supercharger on the top of it.
Oh wow,
That's cool stuff.
That's cool stuff.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, so
but I heard Dodge is pretty much getting rid of. Is it the Charger or the Challenger?
The Hellcat.
The
Yeah.
Hellcat.
Yeah.
I was trying to do some reading over that.
Yeah.
And some days the internet just confuses me. Okay? You type it in and you read this story and it tells you one thing, and then this one tells you something else. So
Right.
we can do a little research, but it looks like the Ford Mustang is going to be the last V8 and
And the Corvette.
And the Corvette,
Right. Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Too.
I can't imagine ever getting rid of the Corvette either.
They won't.
I mean,
Right.
No,
that's-
they won't.
They
that's-
won't.
Iconic.
That's an iconic signature
Right.
Yeah.
sports car.
Right.
I mean, if they only made like 5 a year, I mean, I think they would always still
Sure.
make that vehicle.
They now the problem with getting rid of some of those cars, if Ford does away with production of the Mustang, they can no longer NASCAR race it.
Correct.
You have to
Must be a
build.
current production car.
You have to build so many,
Yeah.
and I know we weren't going back to NASCAR.
That's fine. It all ties
But
in.
but when we're racing, you have to build so many street production cars
Right.
to be able to race in some of the NASCAR's IMSAs and
Right.
things of that nature.
And
Yeah.
Randy, didn't Jim Farley say that Ford is a racing company? We're in the racing business.
He said we were going to build exciting cars. That was his last news conference. And the new GTD Mustang is living proof.
That's right.
Because that's what we're taking to Le Mans.
Right.
Hey, a podcast from Le Mans.
I'm all
Sun's
in.
up.
I'm still worried about getting into Barrett Jackson.
We're
alone
jumping
across-
way ahead here. Now we're Le Mans.
Okay.
But here's the nice
Yeah.
thing about your auto manufacturers. While they have ceased production, and we've seen this before in all makes and models of cars, that can be shelved. But secretly in the back room, you've got a group of engineers and designers and people who are going to deploy something 5 years out.
Right.
It can always come back.
Yeah.
Camaro was vacant for several years, then boom, it's back.
Yes.
I think that with regular cars, Ford got rid of their car models
Right.
several years ago. I don't think that's permanent. I mean, I get we're an SUV truck country, but I think just like everything else, you look in European areas and other parts of the world, cars are still pretty,
You know,
Yeah, passenger cars.
Yeah.
regular passenger cars.
Yeah.
You know when it'll not be shelved anymore? When people start walking in the door demanding a Ford Fusion.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's
Well-
it, too, because we talked about passion and work, right?
Right.
And so Ford has listened to the consumer regarding passion, regarding the Mustang. Take the Mustang off the market, and you'll have a problem.
Oh, you'll have a
immediately.
riot.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So you have to stick with Mustang. And with work, you have to stick with truck, whether it's a Ranger, an F-150, whether it's this special Black Ops package over here. I mean,
Right.
you've got to keep those things because people need a truck.
Right.
And people need a Mustang.
And I worry, though, because
People need a Mustang.
they need
You
a
can
Mustang.
put a car seat in the back of a Mustang.
Right.
The Mustang has 4 seats.
Right.
Yes.
I
Very
just
functional.
I just wonder.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Can you?
I'm
hey,
here to tell you.
Can you see Earl in the back seat of a Mustang?
No.
Well, I had to wrap him up in there.
Maybe mine with the top down.
You all know and see me all the time, but
Right.
I am 6'4" plus a little bit.
Right.
There is no back seat.
Yeah.
It's tough enough to have the seat all the way back on the rails just to drive the thing.
Yeah, he already drives his GTH from the back seat.
Right.
Just about. About like a funny car.
Well, I worry. And I only say this because, and I know we're sponsored by Riverside Ford, and I don't want to say anything bad about the industry, but they're getting expensive.
Yes,
Trucks
they
are getting expensive. SUVs are getting expensive. So what's the point where people are like, well, do I actually have to have a utility vehicle? What are my options
Right.
from there? And maybe coming back to building cars that are affordable again.
Well-
I mean, for a lot of people.
But you can, for the cost of what a Fusion used to cost,
Right.
we can go to an Escape
Yeah.
and
That's
and,
right.
and get you. That's Steve's daughter drives an Escape.
That's right.
And get a price point.
Yeah.
Right.
The Bronco Sport, you can buy a brand new Bronco Sport in the low 30s number.
And I would say this as well too. Thinking about like where you are generationally with your family, we had the minivan, right?
Right.
We had the Dodge minivan
We
with
did
the
too.
remote control doors and stuff like that.
you
I think the small SUV answers that for the growing
Right.
family. Okay, you've got 4 doors. It's easy in and out. You can put your car seats in there. So it's really consumer friendly in that regard. And so my wife loved our minivan. I hated that thing.
you-
Fries, fishy crackers
Oh, yeah.
in the down in the Stone Go
Yes.
areas, and it was just too much.
And then they all became to look. All the minivans all looked alike.
Absolutely bubbles, just little
yeah.
I had
ovals
the
like this.
Soccer mom van.
That's
soccer
exactly
mom
what
van.
I
it
had
is.
the Dodge Caravan Sport.
Yeah.
Oh, sport.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you didn't see a lot of them, but they were a little bit shorter. But when we went to go get it, I was reluctant. We had 2 boys.
Yeah.
It was time for us to have it.
Yeah.
I did not want it.
That's exactly how it was. It was
But
time,
after driving
here we
it,
go.
it
Yeah.
didn't take me very much longer because that little ST that I had
Right.
had the little sporty engine and that
Yeah.
I was like, I fell in love with that van.
Did you?
I absolutely fell in love with that van.
If
Now-
all of the seats folded down, you could haul a
Oh, yeah.
television, lawnmower.
Yeah.
It
You
didn't
could
matter.
pack that thing
You could
full.
pack it, but they all looked alike, and they were
Mr. Practicality.
Mr.
Well,
Practicality.
That's
it
what we
takes
call him.
sometimes.
That
you
is
gotta,
me.
You
I
got to
am
load that van up, stow those seats, and go.
Well, and it was a struggle for me when I got the truck because I've had an SUV. I
Right.
had the Edge before. It did everything that I ever needed it
Yeah.
to do. If I needed wood or whatever, I just folded those
Yeah.
seats down and put the wood. I mean, it all fit in there.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they all talked me into this truck,
Yeah.
and I was reluctant. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not a truck guy. I don't.
Right.
Do I need the truck now? I can't live without
You
it.
got to have a truck.
Right.
But have you ever noticed, you two, you talking about the minivans?
Right.
I am not a minivan driver. A lot of people know I don't have kids.
It's a
Right.
phase.
Never had kids.
You go through the phase.
go through it, and then you get rid of it.
That's
Yes.
right. That was good. That was a good
That's
time
very
of life.
I don't need a minivan.
Right.
But you roll up to a red light in your Bullet or your Shelby, and the minivan pulls up beside you, and secretly Dad is looking out the window going, I could have had one of those.
He did
You
for a
can
little
just
bit.
see it. Do you remember
He
have you
gave it
seen
away.
this?
Yeah, he had to give it up for a little bit. Sometimes you do, and that's part of life. Sometimes you make the decision
Yeah.
because your family needs
Right.
come first. And then you move to, guess what? You can fit 4 kids or 2 kids in the back of that Mustang.
yes,
and I
you
did
can.
it. Kids get back there. Then my kids started getting taller. My son Seth, he's about 5'10", 5'11".
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
boy, get in the back of that car. I'm not getting back there,
So-
Dad. I'm like, you're going to drive with somebody else then, son.
Yeah, that's
So what
right.
happens
to it.
after that? You end up in a Corvette.
Yes.
'Cause anytime you see someone driving on a really nice Corvette,
Yeah.
they're always older.
Yeah.
I mean,
They are.
and if it's because they can afford it, for
Yeah.
one,
Right.
or I've been through the Caravan, I've got my utility vehicles, my kids are all now out of the house.
Yeah.
I'm buying my Corvette that I've always wanted.
But have you been in one of these new Corvettes?
I have not been in one.
I
no.
have. Oh
they
my
are
gosh.
they are not chubby dude friendly.
No.
Oh, really?
No. We had 2 here that we took trade in on,
Right.
and we had to move them off the showroom floor, so they make me move them.
Right.
I get in this thing, and it's
Pinch ya.
it's fighter plane capsule.
It is.
And you're not really that chubby. I mean, you're not.
I understand, but you get in this thing,
Too tight.
this
and
is
it's
chubby.
it's tight. You'd have to put a little Crisco on a whirl to get him in the door.
You would, and they're 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they are
Crawl
on
out.
the ground.
You'd have
that
to take-
rocker is down there.
You'd have to take the top out so Earl's head could stick
out
out.
of
the
Are they
top.
long enough for your legs?
Actually, they are, but
Yeah.
you're so tight, you don't feel comfortable driving
Yeah.
it.
No.
You just don't.
I didn't.
Not
but-
my height. Not my height. Steve, you might be fine in it.
Yeah.
But not
Well,
anything over. I'm
What's
gonna
he-
say what 5'10".
What's he saying?
Well, I'm 5'9" with boots on, so
Yeah. That's what I said. 5'10" and
Nothing
above.
untrue
You
there.
would not like a Corvette.
And that's the cool part about some of the sports cars they build now.
Right.
Earl is 6'5" and drives a GTH Mustang.
yeah.
Right.
You know, the Challenger and the Chargers and the Camaro. I had a hard time getting in. I hit my head on the door every time I got in.
It's just a narrow opening.
It's
When you're
well,
in-
the roof's short.
Yeah, but when you're in it,
Right.
it's actually
Yeah.
fairly comfortable. 'cause
Yeah.
The way that roof kind of goes up and over.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I hit the button on my phone and it's been recording our podcast.
Yeah, all right.
It's got a transcript.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the-
I could send this text.
That should be
Yeah.
3. Oh, you are literally.
Wow.
It's like totally writing as you're.
He's discovered something.
I've discovered this iPhone may be too smart for me.
Let me say this too before we move on from this.
Yeah.
But I would say that that's the beauty of Ford is you can buy a Mustang. They sell a very affordable Mustang.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
can get into one very affordable, and often it'll fit your lifestyle, your budget, that sort of thing. But then you upgrade until you find exactly what you want.
Right.
And then you hold on to that thing because it becomes valuable. It becomes like my Bullet. I mean, that's iconic. Who knows if they're ever going to make it? They probably won't.
No.
So you keep that car because it's an iconic piece that, hey, everybody, people still look at it when I drive down the road because there's no badging on it. It's
Right.
clean. It's Highland Green. Highland Green, Ford only puts Highland Green on the Bullet.
One
That's
car.
it.
Yeah, but
Have you noticed that the Mustang does not have a Ford oval on it?
That's right.
no, I
Just
actually
a
never
horse.
put that together.
It
Just
does
a
not.
horse.
Just a horse. Now, some of the new ones like that gorgeous GT500 that's right down there, in the very top of the windshield,
Yeah.
it has a very small Ford oval.
Decal.
But you'll notice, the trucks and I mean, if you look at this Mustang right here, this is a 69.
Right,
It does not have a Ford oval on it
right.
because you don't need it. And you notice what he keeps saying about a sports car. It's a lifestyle,
Right.
Lifestyle.
not just a car.
I had a
It's lifestyle.
Fusion. I had a Fusion for a year. It
Oh, it's
was
a nice
great.
car.
It was a sport. It was beautiful. I bought it here. It had 305 horsepower, all-wheel drive. It was a beautiful car, but it wasn't a Mustang.
And this turbo 4-cylinder that Ford puts in the Mustang now, dude, they're a runner.
Yeah, they
They're quick.
Yeah, they are.
They will flat get it.
And you talk about that, though, in the Mustang world. But if you take your 6-cylinder, I mean, it doesn't quite get the same.
You'll never get the sound.
No.
Well, but even the accolades. Like
Right.
if you're going down the road and you're like, oh, he's got a Mustang. Oh, it's a 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
It's
You know what I
it's
mean?
it's about me and what I can do because for me it was gradual.
Right.
I bought a V6
Yep.
here,
Right.
2007.
Sure enough.
And so it was silver. It was my first one. It still has a special place in my
I remember when
heart,
you bought that
right?
car.
I know it. See, but that's just it. You throughout as you get older, as you take bumps in salary,
Right.
you upgrade.
Well, and that's the thing
naturally.
I get with the Ranger.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
and people are like, oh, that's a cool truck. What is that a V6? No, it's a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of say it under my breath, but technically speaking, the horsepower and the power that comes out of that little 4-cylinder is much or not more than the 6 back in 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Do you remember the Red Ranger that?
Yeah.
That
we gave away the $99.
No.
Oh.
The Red Ranger like yours that Jeff built for me when we had no Mustangs.
Oh,
I do not.
I took a Red Ranger to the Shelby meet one year.
Right.
4-cylinder motor. 30, I believe he put 35s on it. Ford builds a performance tune for that 4-cylinder. We tuned it, cold air intaked it, Borla exhausted it.
right.
And that Ranger would come out of the hole with both rear tires smoking. And I did it in front of the Southern Hills Marriott because one guy chuckled and said, "Why did you bring a Ranger?" And I said, "I'll show you."
I'll show you.
Yep.
Because during COVID, we couldn't get a Mustang.
Right.
We didn't have any.
Right.
But, we can.
The car culture people, like we started talking about, car culture people look at everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do this, and most of my friends do. You know, you'll see you're going to work or you're going out for the evening. You'll see the Corvettes. You'll see the Dodges.
Right.
You'll see these bad-looking BMWs. You know, you can't miss them. You know, the way they're structured, and you certainly see the Mustangs. If it's a GT, you can hear them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they all have that resonated sound. But the car culture, and if your kids grow up in that, they do the same thing.
Right.
Oh, look at that. That's a cool Ranger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why does he have 35s on that thing?
Yeah.
Right.
It can't even turn him over until he smokes them. You know?
Right.
Right.
But let's talk about culture for a second. You and me and this one, if we're going to go buy, Steve McQueen buys a Mustang now, he's not going to buy a 4-cylinder.
No.
Correct.
He's driven a 5.0 V8 forever.
Right.
New culture coming up, young men TJ's age, they're going to look at the 4-cylinder turbo first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're into turbo cars.
In
and-
fact, that's funny you said that because that's the first thing when I got the truck. He was like, it has the the EcoBoost on it. And he's
Eco
like,
Beast.
The Eco
I
Beast.
like that.
Eco
That's
Beast.
The Eco Beast.
in the Ford world, that's what we call it.
Really?
Because
Really?
if
Had
you've
no
ever
idea.
driven a 3.5 EcoBoost,
That's
Okay,
interesting.
the 3.5 EcoBoost that's in these F-150 trucks
Right.
is the same 3.5 EcoBoost that they put in the $1 million Ford GT.
Right.
Yep.
Well, his first question wasn't whether it was a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder 8. It was, does it have the EcoBoost on it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, it does. And he's like,
I'm on my fourth one in that King Ranch.
Yes,
Yeah.
Earl drives an EcoBeast in his King Ranch.
You foot brake that thing, and it will still spin them tires over it, just sitting there, just foot brake it.
Hey,
when
you
them
know what-
turbos spool up,
You know what he's talking about?
yes,
Foot brake?
yes.
Okay.
Spins the wheels, right?
I'm just checking.
Spins the back wheels.
but that's the changing market from the V8, as Randy's pointing out.
I know.
Right.
From the V8,
Right.
drop down a little bit to the V6, and then these 4-cylinders, they're called power adders.
Right.
Power adder. When you do a power adder, you don't have the displacement on the engine, but you've got something that'll, when you ask it to perform, the turbos, and like in this case, the twin turbos, or a smaller supercharger, you'll get it.
Yes.
Right.
But you don't have 8 cylinders anymore.
Right.
You got 4.
And from if we went out here from stop sign to stop sign, some of these turbo 4-cylinder cars
Yeah.
They're bad.
would eat us for lunch.
Absolutely.
Because they're lighter,
Yeah.
certainly in the front end of it, because they don't have near the weight.
Right.
They're lighter. They're computer controlled. They're quick response. The throttle response from the minute you hit that pedal to the rear wheels is blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I'll say when I put that in sport mode,
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's a huge difference.
it'll throw me back.
Yeah.
I mean, it really shocks me how much torque that little truck can produce. In fact, I raced a Genesis. He was really pissing me off, and we're
Hey, whoa. Beep, beep.
sorry. He was making me mad.
Yes.
And I don't know. We were down over there by the golf course, and there's a stop, and you have to race to get to the front. And he was being, anyways. I put it in sport mode because I was going to see whether or not I could take him.
Yep.
I took him.
I took him. Now, so
My wife gets mad when I do.
when you get ready to lose the Mr. Practicality,
Yeah.
we'll performance tune it. It doesn't add a ton of horsepower, but it adds a ton of torque.
Torque. Yep.
And it will get it.
I don't know. I might go to a bigger truck. See, it gets to that
Yeah,
upgrade thing,
the
you know?
upgrade.
It just, in my mind, it's still a 4-cylinder. And then you look at guys and, they're like, hey, we got a truck. And they, you see these ones on the showroom floor. And I'm like, yeah, I got a Ranger. I like my Ranger. Don't get me wrong. It's just, if I'm going to upgrade, I think I might just upgrade to a new truck.
Earl, has anybody ever made you mad and you raced with them on the highway?
Almost every week. Remember, I drive down.
Made you
So
mad.
this is common. I'm not.
Right. I drive the 169 Super Speedway.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
From there on Owasso all into Tulsa, and it's every man, woman for himself.
There
Right.
you go.
Particularly between 7:30 and 8:15.
Right.
If it's 8:01 and they pass you going crazy, they're late for work.
Yeah,
Yep.
they are.
Yeah.
So I watched a show the other night. They took a motor out of your truck that'd been wrecked, had 100,000 miles on it. Bigger turbo, did a little tuning to it, put it in a 71 Daytona
Oh my gosh.
at 600 horse. Now a Daytona for it's a Pantera, which came with a 427 Ford when it came out. Hey, Google that car up.
What is it again?
Pantera.
Pantera.
1971 or 72.
De
2 years.
Tomaso. But you can take that EcoBoost. We have guys that bring them in here that you can order a badge that goes on the side that says EcoBeast.
EcoBeast.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even do that on purpose. I was just.
Oh,
See what I'm saying?
yeah, that's a hot car.
One
We'll-
of them.
we'll
One of
put
them.
that picture on Facebook for
Yeah.
you guys.
One of them came in here one day and you'd slap the accelerator and he'd put the little valve on the turbo, so when it backed up, it went psh.
Yeah.
So how's that compared to like the Eleanor?
The Eleanor is not.
Is that like the same generation or?
Eleanor is not a 6-cylinder
Oh, okay.
EcoBoost.
You're right.
And it's a big block Ford with 2 4s on it.
What size motor is that, Earl?
427.
427. Yeah.
Nice.
That car was a 67.
Correct.
Last one of those I saw sell at Barrett Jackson, I believe, went for $440.
327.
No, that's a Chevy motor, sir.
Oh, I thought I saw. I said 300. Oh,
427.
it's still expensive.
Eleanor was a cool car, and a lot of people remember that from the movie Gone in
Movie,
60
Gone
Seconds.
in 67.
You know,
But-
I didn't realize till the other day there was two of those movies.
Two of them. Yep.
I watched the one with Nicolas Cage, but there was one before that.
1974.
What is the deal with Eleanor? I mean, it's not an actual. It's not an actual vehicle. It's a
It's an aftermarket
right.
with a lot of cool stuff on it.
what
And that's still up for debate whether it's a Shelby or it's not a Shelby and who owns the rights to it and all that
Right.
stuff. We don't want to go there.
No, no,
right?
no.
No, I get it.
But we
Yeah.
can have one live on the podcast someday.
Yeah.
We've got one up here in Bartlesville that's all movie certified.
They said it was a code name that filmmaker Halleck developed for a movie.
So it's just a series of these are the things that you have to do to make this an Eleanor.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be official,
Right.
called license per
Right.
the person that owns the rights to the name Eleanor and the movie rights and Paramount Pictures. It's a very complicated deal.
Does it have to be that model year?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, now
So you can't make a new Eleanor.
I've seen guys do it to
I've
an
seen
05.
An 05, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get real
They build
fragmented.
kits.
You know, you
Right.
get real fragmented the further you get away from actual movie cars. Movie
Right.
cars are very, very popular. They sell very well.
Yeah.
You know, even Beverly Hillbillies. Remember the Chrysler that Miss Jane drove?
Yes.
That thing was owned in Tulsa for years. I used to
Oh.
work with the guy. That convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he owned that car 25 years. Wow. But it's a movie car. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
deal where folks say that I want that car. It was in the movie.
Yeah.
Like Dukes of Hazzard, I think there's 17 or 18 of those Dodge Chargers.
Yep.
They tore them up and wrecked them, did all that stuff. And then some. You can take the body parts off and rebuild it, but it was used in the movie.
Yes. Correct.
Movie car.
I assume that they just built those like shells. So when they would go and wreck them, they would just take that fender off and put the other fender back. You know what I mean? And just
They normally have the donor cars, but it depends on what they're going to do with it. Are your stunt drivers going to really be rough to it? Are they going to intentionally crash it? You know, or an explosion? But there's companies that provide the movie industry just with that stuff. They
Just
have
for that.
hundreds and hundreds of these cars.
Right.
I've seen a few pictures of the museum where some of these cars are. Say you wanted a 19 post World War II, you wanted a 1943 Packard, and they'll have one or two, maybe three.
wow.
Right.
Just sits there until the movie director producer says this is what we need.
Right.
That's a whole neat place to go.
And you talk about cool old cars. If you go to the Shelby American website, you can still order a 65 GT 350R that they'll build right there in
That's
the shop.
amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
They own the licensing for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They own the rights to that car.
What
Now-
is it about?
now-
It's built from
3 or
scratch?
400,000? How much would
yeah.
that?
Now, Earl, do I have to donate the car, or do they?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
you
some
can
of the
get
thing-
one.
Some of
Right.
these things Shelby builds. You know, you have to. Well, like your Super Snake,
Yeah.
you had a donor car,
Yep.
and they
Shelbyized it.
Shelbyized it. Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with my
Suspension and
Bullet.
tuning and
I could do a Steve McQueen edition for my Bullet, send it off, have them upgrade it.
When are we going to do that?
I need a little bit of money. I'll proudly display the Riverside Ford logo on my car.
Gary Patterson and his crew in Las Vegas, they will supercharge anything that's
Yeah.
Ford Mustang stuff.
I told a guy that the other day. He was in a parking lot, one of my texts, and he said, Randy, I saw a Shelby Expedition, which they don't build. And he said, how do you get that? I said, well, I can give you a guy's phone number, and for a big enough check, buddy,
They'll build it.
they'll
build
build whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Right.
One of the guys, Daryl, that comes to Mid-America
Yep.
Ford and Shelby, he's addicted to the Gulf colors,
Yep.
the turquoise and the orange. He has a Cobra Jet drag car that he bought, and he said, well, I'm going to make it a Shelby. And, the dealer he got out there, he lives in South Dakota, said, no, we can't do that. Shelby won't do that. He makes a call, and he has one of one
Yes.
Wow.
Cobra Jet drag car, and it is a Shelby badged.
Yep.
One of one with a number on the core support.
Yep. Because like Carol always said, his favorite one was
Is the next one I
Next
build.
one.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Gary Patterson emulates that.
Yes, he does.
We can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it. They've got the engineering, they got the design, they got Vince out there, they got other folks that from other, aftermarket suppliers, whatever you want on your car. If your checkbook's big enough,
Yep.
now it's a debit card.
Yeah.
We'll build it.
And come June, folks, we're going to get Mr. Patterson on the show.
Yes,
I was going to ask if we could actually
We'll have
get
Gary
him.
out here. We'll get
Oh, I
him.
promise you can get Gary out here.
He'll love it.
Hey, Gary, will you come talk to tens and tens of
Tens
listeners,
and tens of listeners.
about Shelby's? Yes.
Yes. You'll probably help us out
goodness.
quite a bit.
So
Speaking of that, what do you guys know anything? As we close up here,
Yeah.
Right.
what shows and stuff do we got going on? Earl, what you got going on?
actually, tomorrow is Cars and Coffee with Ethan. His group meets down there at 71st and 169 right in front of Best Buy.
Best Buy.
That's really his first good weather. Looks like it's really great tomorrow.
Right.
It's come and go. The drag strip is today. They open up today at noon. Pavement's good and wet, good sunshine. March is the month where, weather permitting, you've got a better chance of having your event, car
Right.
show, whatever, because your weather's mostly going to cooperate with you.
Right. It'd be cold or
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
We'll never be hot. I don't think it'll be hot, but
Miss Tanya blends it cold from the Air and Space Museum.
okay.
The 16th is
16th.
Stang Thing.
Cool.
Mr. Latshaw is going to fly in his P-51 Mustang.
And we will be there.
And we will be there. We're going to do the show from there. Here's actually
in case you can see, I know it's far away, but
we'll get a
that's-
picture of that on the
Yeah,
Facebook.
That's mine a few years ago in front of the P51.
and that's Mr. Latshaw's P-51.
Yep.
I saw that at an event at the Air and Space Museum. I saw his Mustang where they had to roll it in. Thunderclouds came up and started thundering.
Right.
They rolled that in that big hangar. This gives you a perspective. It fit under the wing of a 737.
Wow.
Oh wow.
All of it.
All of it. Yeah.
That's how small that Mustang is.
yeah.
But when it's there
airplane.
by itself,
It looks
It looks
big.
huge.
it looks
Right.
huge.
Yeah, right.
With a V12 in it.
It's
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe it. Where are they going to put this? Just pushed it in on that cart and it fit under the wing
Yeah.
of a 737.
That's right.
Anyway,
Well, you can go to tulsamuseum.org and learn more about the show,
Right.
Stang Thing, coming up. And you can see a picture. They have like a 67 Mustang in front of it, and that's a small car. And so you can see, what that would look like to scale with a P51
Right.
behind it. It's small.
And I think the Cars and Coffee, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the first Sunday every month.
every month. Yeah,
Yep.
Ethan does the
Started
first
out.
Sunday of every month.
Yep.
And
that's
usually
gonna-
it's come and go.
Yeah.
We
But I
make
think he likes to start at 9, but everybody's there at 8.
Okay. I was going to ask because I've never been. So if I were to bring the bullet in, what time do I need to get there? How does that
8:30.
work? 8:30.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I know we have you already talked about the drag strip. I know Hallett has things that are going on.
Yes.
You could actually take your car. I was reading on this. What is it? High Speed Touring Series.
Very
Yep.
cool. Very cool.
It is. very cool.
$75 a year to be the membership.
Yep.
And you can take your car out the Hallett and just
tool around.
tool around on the track.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there'll be Vets, there'll be Dodges, there'll be Mustangs, and you get to run with your friends who
Yeah.
are into just performance driving.
You can-
how good a driver am I?
You
Right.
can run with your friends or run into your
Or run
friends.
into friends.
Okay, let's talk about this one and then we'll go.
Okay, no problem.
I want to do something in September
All right.
that I want the listeners to put on their calendar and come go with us.
Okay.
Movie freaks we are.
Yes.
I did not do my homework.
Yeah, he did not, by the way, for those who actually cared to listen last.
Tens
He was
and tens.
supposed to watch the Gran Turismo and has not. So
I-
now he has to watch Gran Turismo and Rush.
And Rush.
I'll
I
do them
gotta watch Rush.
before the
You really do. It's
Air and
honestly,
Space
it's a good
Museum.
movie.
But we can all agree Smokey and the Bandit was one of the best car movies around.
Yeah.
Okay. Burt Reynolds passed away in September. Okay. I was a big Burt Reynolds fan, Smokey and the Bandit. I think we line up 10 or 12 cars and run to Texarkana,
Get
Texas.
to find somebody's got a Trans Am.
No, we're going to do it in Mustangs, bro.
We can do.
If Burt would have been smart, we'd have done it in Mustang.
Mustangs.
Yeah, but
Okay?
if we're gonna pay homage to the man, we need to get one person with a Trans Am. We can find a Trans Am.
Yeah, but the problem is, all he'll ever see is the tail lights of everything else. The 6.6 liter Trans Am probably had a whopping 200 horse.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Oh, you. That's you.
That's me. We'll figure it out.
Set to cruise it. But I'm thinking this could just be a fun day.
Yeah.
We're going to do
Let's do
some
that.
fun things.
Well, we got a lot of fun
it'll be
things.
fun.
We have a lot of fun things that'll be coming up.
Yep. Let's do it.
We've got a poker run that we want to talk about too. We haven't got the details yet, but
All right, guys. Hey, for my buddy Prince Earl Groves,
Stop it.
Steve McQueen Hahn, TJ the producer, And Mr. Practicality, Travis Hall. I'm Randy Pierce, and we will see you down the road.